Well, welcome to another episode of the Billy Ho Show. When I was a boy, there was a park on the way home from school, and if you're coming home from the pictures, and it had a seesaw and swings, but it also had this very tall slide, and the slide went one way, and on the other side there were two poles that just went down as well. And I think I might have been about 6, maybe 7. You'd climb up to the top and you'd look at the poles. All the other kids were going down the poles, but down the slide, and then come round and back up again, look at the poles, down the slide, come back. And in the end you get enough confidence to sort of climb onto the, there's no way you could fall through them, so you sort of wrap one arm around one pole, wrap one arm around the other pole, and then slide down on your tummy to the bottom. And once you've done it for the first time, that was fun, and back up again and down the poles, and then you sort of get a bit more brave and sort of sit up and slide down sitting up. But it was just that initial confidence of handling the poles in the first place. It was just something that happened. And at school, there was often lots of fights going on. I pretty much stuck up for myself because of my upbringing. And I'd stick up for other people sort of getting bullied as well. So I say, you can't do that, and bang, I'm in a fight, and then in trouble, get the strap, and then on you go again. But it's just the confidence of knowing your limitations, I suppose, and getting a handle on them and just enjoying yourself. So that park, the seesaws, and I remember the seesaws, you sort of get on one side and then you come down as hard as you can so the person on the other side sort of lift it up, and then he comes down and you lift it up, and that was the whole fun of the thing. And then the swings back in the day, they had chains, and you sort of swing out and then you sort of swing, and then you sort of almost try and sort of get to go over the top, but not quite there. So you had a lot of fun at the old park on the way home from school. So this show is about the heavy haulage industry, and I'm going to talk to Dave Carr from Tranzcarr Limited, and they moved very big items up and down and around the country, huge things, and they've got the trucks and the trailers to do it. So let's have a chat to Dave Carr. Tranzcarr specialises in moving large and heavy loads that require specialised trucks and trailers to enable them to do that. Because of the size of most of their loads, most are moved at night or in the early hours of the mornings, as is this motorway beam. Moving heavy loads requires heavy-duty trucks, and the prime mover here is a 1982 Leyland Scammell. I'm going to be talking to David Carr shortly about Tranzcarr's trucks and trailers, but if this morning's shift of this concrete beam is anything to go by, then this episode is going to be a real eye-opener in terms of exactly what Tranzcarr has moved over the years. The Scammell, David, is an old truck.
These ones are 82.
Oh, okay, 10 years old.
82s, yeah, and they stopped making Scammells in 1990.
Wow.
In England, yeah. I know that because we needed some spare parts for ours, and I spoke to these guys in England, and you're part of the Scammell Owners Club. They've got a group of people over there that have carried it on. In 1990 they stopped making them. Yeah. These ones here in 82 are military trucks too, by the way.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, military driven. That's why they're heavy duty like they are.
Right, and just looking at this truck, it's just enormous. The tyres on them, just for a start, they've got very, very big wheels. What are the size wheels and tyres?
1224s. Built for the military to cart tanks. That's why they drive like a tank.
Oh, okay.
When you drive them. But yeah, I mean, obviously going off highway and into the sand and the mud, and they're actually built for tank recovery. So that's what they're designed to do. And if you have a look at them, they've got a lot of extra cooling and that working into the deserts and everything.
Yeah, I see it's got two radiators out the front there. Yeah.
I actually repowered one recently with a bigger engine and took it up to Cummins, and they'd never seen anything like it. Yeah. Cummins here in New Zealand, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The 6-wheel drive?
No, 4-wheel drive. Yeah.
Just the two drivers at the back.
Yeah. But planetary driven. I mean, the difference, if you go back to what you asked about the old Scammells that Stan Williamson's got. I remember Tranzcarr used to have some of those as well. That's more of a road truck. Yeah. What changes is the rating, the gross, what they call the GCM, gross combination rating. That's the big change. And these trucks here, the biggest trucks in New Zealand, they have a 300-ton manufacturer's rating. Oh, all right, which is pretty well up there. There's nothing else anywhere near it. Yeah.
What do they weigh?
About 14 ton.
Really?
There's a cab and chassis. Yeah.
Oh. Looking at that cab, I mean, I sort of look at the door, and I just sort of can't help but think of a 1958, 59 Austin.
Before my time, Bill. I can't comment there, but I mean, I've been around a while, but not that long.
No, sure.
Yeah, they weren't built, again, they're not built for comfort. They're built for military use. I mean, they don't have air windows and everything. Yeah.
Or seats, are the seating in them just a straight seat, nothing fancy?
Yeah, these ones have been changed. They've got an air seat, and they give the driver a little bit of, I won't get anyone to drive them.
Okay. So what makes these trucks so special for your work?
The rating, what they can do, yeah. The 300-ton rating is very special. It's they have a continuous rating of 150 tons, means that they're designed to do 150 ton all the time, 100% of the time. They have a special rating of 300 tons, that's a gross rating, which it can be up to 30 kilometres per hour. You have to change the diff ratios to about 8.7, which we've got 2 sets of diffs that came with these.
Okay.
They actually supplied them with 2 sets of crown wheel and pinions here, different ratios.
So how long does that take to do?
Oh, we don't do it very often. We just leave them with the low ratio diffs in them. Okay. It means that you can only do 75 k's an hour with them. But when we're pulling loads of 150 tons, you don't need to go faster anymore.
No, I don't suppose you. What does the actual traffic say about your loads? Are they controlled? You must do this, must do that. You've got a big sort of phone book sized rules and regulations. 2 phone books.
It's a lot of red tape. I mean, it's full time, and it's getting worse and tougher with the rules and regulations. Really, really tough. Yeah.
Okay. So the police don't come with you. You have to do it. No, they just
used to be, and like I said, I've been around for a few years, but not as long as some. But I think I can remember the police being with us.
Yeah,
in the
I've
80s.
got some old footage. I think it was Dale's, and they've got something like a Leyland Buffalo, big square-looking thing, and it's being pushed by a looks like a beaver or something about 1956 or 57, pushing along behind. But in front of that was the black and white with the red raspberry on the top.
We did a large load to a power station in Huntley, a new power station in about 2005, and the police insisted that they be involved with the job. They put motorbikes and cars and everything, and it was good too, because a lot of public don't listen to us when we're going down the road with our pilot vehicles with the flashing lights and the guys waving their banners, but when you have police beside you, they start to listen, so it was quite good actually. But they don't have to be there today. It's something we control ourselves.
Do you arrest yourself?
No comment.
Fair enough. Now, moving on to just at the back end of this thing, of course, is the trailer, or trailers, or a series of trailers, depending on. Perhaps it's like to just describe. I mean, you see every single wheel is controlled by a hydraulic arm of some sort, and and they just seem to stretch on for miles and miles and miles.
Yeah, they do. It's they're neat trailers. I mean, it's one of the enjoyments I've had with them is how this equipment works. It's like quite technical but quite simple, you know, and it's all steered. The modular trailers. There's lots of different types of trailers, but what you're referring to is our modular trailers, which are platform trailers. And yeah, they have hydraulic steering. They can be steered by the truck. When the truck goes down the road, the drawbar can steer the trailer automatically.
Oh, okay.
Or you can put a guy on the seat and steer the trailer with a little engine power pack, so independently.
Right. Well, we saw it when it came back from one of your jobs. Well, watch this, folks. We're just backing this trailer. It's come along the road, and he's got to back it into this, off the road more or less, and into this gateway. And you'd have a hell of a lot just putting an Arctic in there, let alone this trailer. But you've done it. The boys have done it just with experience, I suppose. But when I saw all those wheels, like, how the hell is he going to put that in there? All the wheels are pointing the wrong way. Then this little engine starts up, and all the wheels suddenly sort of turn by themselves, and something the trailer's doing the steering rather than the truck.
Called technology built.
Oh, okay, that's flash weird, isn't it?
Yes, it is. But actually, those trailers, some of them we've got here today, they're about 1982, so they have been around a while. But the steering geometry is very good, and it's been a lot of work designing it, I'd say. Where are they made, those things?
Some
of our trailers are made in Italy. Some of them are made in Germany.
Oh, okay, so they don't make them here.
They do. There's an operator and a couple of operators here that have been playing around with them over the last few years.
Oh, okay.
But we don't use so many of the local stuff. I mean, the technology is a bit more advanced in Europe at the moment.
Sure.
So, yeah.
And you must have an enormous tyre bill, although I guess how many tyres on one of those things?
Well,
say the one that's out there. It's got 12 axles, I think.
If you have a 10 axle trailer, it's 80 tyres. Yeah. Yeah,
and
$500 each.
They're all being skidded and shoved and slid across them.
We have a regular meetings here if we start cutting out a few tyres and ask the question why, you know, because it is expensive. Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh. Yeah. So you've got a friendly tyre company, obviously.
Yeah, they all like us.
Dave, have we got a deal for you? Yeah. So getting on to what goes on these trailers, I guess your basic company will be people like the government and bridge builders and
a lot of our work is for the government.
Motorway people.
Yeah, exactly that. Motorway bridge beams and especially the government. We do a lot for and the power generators like Meridian and Contact Energy and people like that. That's a big part of our work. Yeah.
So do you go and plan a job? I mean, we want to shift this, Dave, and do you go and look at it and think, can we even shift it in the first place?
That's exactly how it happens. We'll get a phone call from a customer and they'll say, look, we want to move this, and what can you do? And we'll go out there and design how we're going to do it, have a look at it and come up with a plan.
That plan could involve cranes, lifting cranes,
yeah.
and just everything just to get it onto your trailer.
Yeah.
Even if I don't have to use it, sort of take it maybe, like down in the museum. I think they shifted a museum across the road in Wellington, that museum hotel. Was that you or somebody you? But did it go on a trailer then?
No, it didn't. It was done on skids, on rail buggies actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on railway tracks.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But you could have done that with your trailers?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's a huge building to sit on a trailer.
Yeah, it is. They do it overseas all the time.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So this has been the biggest thing that trucking does, I suppose. What you do is pretty much when you do what you do, you've made it. You're in the big time. Emphasis on the big.
On the big, yeah. I think it probably is. There's a lot of guys that look at what we do and are amazed, even fellow truckers. You know, I mean, a lot of guys just shake their heads when they see what we're doing. And as funny as it sounds, if you make it the pinnacle of what it's all about, we have trouble finding good guys that want to do it, you know. So it's hard work, but I think there's not much else bigger you can do. It's a really challenging business. Yeah.
And do you get weighed up
all the time?
Really?
Yeah.
80 wheels?
Yeah.
They weigh the whole lot?
Yeah, they'll try and weigh us all. Yeah.
Good gosh.
Yeah.
So that's just about the whole night gone while they've done that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and to be quite honest, we engineer all of our moves so we can avoid that. I mean, we like to see ourselves as being negotiated with the CVIU, if you want to weigh us, come and weigh us before we get pulled up, because it's just a problem, you know. But every load we do is generally we've worked out all our weights and stuff correctly. Yeah.
Is there somebody who specialises in that?
In what?
Loading the trucks?
Oh, no, all our boys, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's all about putting the load in the right place on the trailer, centre of gravities. You kind of not anymore a truck driver, you become a technician of sorts, you know.
Yeah, so it might take a month before we even think about sort of doing the job.
Honestly, Bill, there's that much homework done before any job, especially a big job, it happens, that actual fact that doing the job is an anticlimax, because the work that's done in previously is just enormous. Yeah,
so you know it's going to work because the theory says it's going to work.
Yeah, it's supposed to. Well, the trouble is, if it doesn't work, you've got a big problem, so you've got to avoid that, you know.
Yeah, sure. You've got a Pacific, and that looks quite enormous. We saw a few big trucks in our travels, like the Pacific, that shifted the off-highway logs in the Kyangaroa forest that Barry Caulfield's got. In fact, that was our first show. That's enormous. And that's probably 1966 or 1967 they made that. And you've got one there in the yard, you can sort of, you know, standing up, you're almost looking out along underneath the thing, you know, with great big enormous tyres on it as well. Where do you find these things? I mean, that's old in itself. I mean, that's not a new truck.
No, it's not. It's 1991 that was built, and I think it's one of the last Pacifics ever made, because they closed that factory in Vancouver in Canada. They closed it, I think, maybe a year or so later. So there wasn't any more made, and that was actually brought into the country new by Solid Energy. It went up to the Stockton coal mine, and it worked there all its life. And we were doing a job there a few years ago, and you asked me where do I find these trucks. We were doing a job there, and I saw it, and made an offer and bought it. That's how
was it just retired or just?
No, they were actually using it, and it was carting bulk coal. It had a big bin on it, and I didn't have a job for it. I didn't know what I was going to use it for, but I knew we needed to own it, so I made an offer, and actually came home, and about 2 months later they rang me up and said, yep, you can buy it. So
did you drive it home or stick it on transport?
we transported it. Yeah.
Off highway, is that a lot of stuff that you do?
Yeah, there's big. That particular truck is actually used on the wind farms up in the mountainous areas. Yeah.
Some of the places they got the wind farms, it must be very tricky to get to. I mean, obviously in the back of somebody's farm, and there's only farm tracks to get there. You've got to take these enormous things, you know, and some of them be zigzags.
Yeah, they are. Wind farms are a new challenge altogether. Yeah, they cut new roads in there.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, you can only cut a road up a mountain on a certain angle. It doesn't, unless you take the mountain away. So there's some big hills here, big hills. Yeah.
How many gears have that Pacific got? I mean,
this gearbox is you actually change it like this. Watch out, I'm not running any cars over. Power shift Allison transmission, that's what it is. And this one here, this is an auxiliary, 2-speed auxiliary transmission, which is an air shift operated. So it has this gearbox, then it has this gearbox again behind it, 2 gearboxes, which we fitted this here ourselves, so that it makes the truck go half as fast as it used to, so that when we're going really slow on the hills, we can go very, very slow. And we do go very, very slow. This truck with 40 ton of steel ballast, we can spin the wheels on the tar seal with 40 ton of steel ballast, yeah.
Melbourne Lime, every time. Melbourne Lime, available all over the Southland district and beyond. Top grade lime that's been available year after year. Call them on 03 417 8228. The next time you need lime, think Melbourne Lime, every time. On Saturday, November the 6th, we leave for another Bill Hohepa Old Truck Tour of New Zealand. We leave from Auckland and make our way to Wellington, cross over on the ferry to the South Island and continue down all the way to Richardson's Museum in Invercargill. Then we travel up the coast all the way to Wakefield and on to Rockville. All this and looking at old trucks as we go, as well as seeing a fair bit of New Zealand. And people will travel by minibus. So if you have an ex-truck driving dad or granddad or somebody you know, maybe this special trucking holiday treat will be just a ticket. Maybe a Father's Day surprise. If you'd like to find out more, just go to my Facebook page, Bill Hohepa's 2021 Old Truck Tour, and all the details are there. Or just email me at billhohepa@extra.co.nz.
Most of all of our big trucks are automatics.
Oh, okay.
We specialise in that. We've got 18 trucks that are automatic.
Is there a reason for the automatic?
Yeah.
One that jumps into mind, of course, you can't, you're sort of a bit of a jerk because you missed the gear or something like that happens. It's going to affect the load in some way.
More so is we put 2 to 3 trucks and hook them all together. And if you've got guys that are mashing gears and dropping clutches and that, it's very difficult to get them to work together. So, and the other big advantage of the automatics is if you stop on a gradient somewhere, you can move off from a standing start. And I always say to everybody at these meetings that I go to, I go to lots of meetings, they say, how are you going to get up this hill? It's startability is what you need. You don't, in the old days, and I used to do this, in Dale's days we used to do this, Mount Eden Road was a classic example. We used to attack the hill at top speed and try to get up, and if we didn't get up, you'd take a crate of piss around to the local, there was a Henderson Pollard had a mill there on Mount Eden Road. And we used to take some beer around there, and he'd bring his front end loader up and pull us up the hill, because we didn't have enough traction to get up the hill. That used to happen all the time. That was in the 80s when I was there,
Wow.
So now, today, you can't do that. You've got to be able to stop on any gradient and...
So the automatics just lend themselves to do that.
To move off from a standing start,
sure,
yeah.
And nice and smooth.
Smooth, yeah. And together, I mean, you hook 4 trucks together and try to get them all to move off together.
So you radio communication to do that, everybody's got to have a thing in their ear to say, right, boys, go now.
Yeah. Bunches of radios.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, everywhere. I think there's a whole heap here. There's 50 of them around the place somewhere. Yeah, we lose a few.
So getting back to the Dale job, I mean, sort of, as I said, we've seen some footage of some of the things that they've towed around and the beginning of all the old dams and all the stuff that you needed to do the dam jobs. They would have done all that because that was all brand new back then, building new dams. And so Dale's Freightways and those types of people were what did you learn from them, from things that have gone by?
I think probably things have got easier because the technology that we have today has changed a lot, like these automatic trucks I'm talking about, and the trailer gear that we're using, and some of our specialised lifting equipment that we have. They didn't have that technology back then, and I think, if anything, today is easier to do the work. I look at some of those old photos. I mean, Dale's, I worked there for a short period, maybe 4 years, but we did some big stuff. But you go back earlier, the roads were tougher. The equipment wasn't as good as we've got today.
Oh, okay.
But the loads maybe not have been as heavy, but the conditions were a lot tougher. So I think, if anything, things have got easier today, and it's purely through technology, I mean, the way we do our business today, I don't think it's the same as the way Dale's did it, but it's because of the equipment, yeah.
So a lot of Kiwi ingenuity rather than technology back then.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Crokers, you got to have a look at some of those, you can have a look, especially in the South Island, some of the things they've done. And, all credit to those older firms, that they didn't have anything else to work with. I mean, today, I read a lot of magazines from overseas, and I see what's available out there in the world and bring that stuff to New Zealand. We've brought a lot of stuff into this country in the last few years, like technology that's not been here.
Sure. Now, moving right along again, at Buff Weddings, great day you had last Labour weekend. What a fantastic day, and your trucks featured there, and I was absolutely blown away by the front of that Pacific. And I think I had to back up 15 metres before you even saw where the driver was, so going down the road and sort of think, well, you certainly have to count the cars in front of you. Yeah, was there 2 or was there 3?
That's why we don't drive it on the road. That's an off-highway one. Yeah, it is a big truck. It's absolutely a huge truck.
The truck next to it was the Oshkosh, and there was the navy green one, and then there's the other sort of commercial-looking one, the white one, I think it is.
Yeah.
And that's an odd-looking truck. And you think, what the hell would anybody... It's just, well, it's like looking at one of those old military trucks. They're not pretty.
I don't call it odd, and there's 2 of us in the company that like that truck, and the other guy's Johnny. And we call it classical.
Classical, that's a word for it, yeah. It's got a slanted window sort of back towards you, and I wonder what the reason for that is. But the military reason, of course, is to say that it doesn't reflect the light from when the planes are sort of flying around. Is there a commercial reason for it?
Well, you'd never do it. I think it's a military thing. Yeah. I mean, you got to remember the truck's 1977 when it was built, and they didn't make anything user friendly, did they? So
no. Yeah, what you do, what the truck does, you do.
Yeah, it's not an aerodynamic piece of equipment by any means. No, yeah. Yeah.
With if I had decided I wanted to drive one of your trucks, and I just sort of turned up one day and said, "You're looking for a truck driver? I can drive a truck." What sort of a chance would I have?
You're too old, Bill. Yeah.
I'll say I was about 35.
Look, we've got an average age of over 50 now. We've got to try and get the level down. I used to say we've got 2 companies, Machinery Movers and Tranzcarr Heavy Haulage, and both companies are specialised operators. And we'd like to put the drivers through machinery movers to see how they progress and see how good they are. And then if they're really good in that environment, because they do a lot of over-dimensional concrete and stuff as well, if they're good in that environment, we sort of watch, and then he should be maybe over here, and we'll give him a go over this side,
Right.
So
you have a bit of a training ground.
But it doesn't work that way. That's the sad part about it. We haven't got too many guys in there that are meeting the required what you need to do. So yeah, it's very difficult. We're trying to find younger guys. It's difficult. Yeah.
Sure. Do you have any women?
No, I wouldn't be against having lady drivers.
The only reason I'm saying that is some of the guys that work in the quarries, the women seem to be able to be good with with those great big
dump trucks,
100-ton dump trucks. Yeah,
I've seen that a bit on TV. I'm not against it. I mean, it is a bit of a man's world, but things are changing all the time. Youth is what we're after, a little bit of youth, because it's more climbing up and down all the time, and it's a bit hard on the older guys, including myself.
Sure. All due respect, though, there's a guy, you get in an S Bedford and you can hardly steer the steering wheel because your guts are in the way. Then you get out of the thing and it takes you about 2 minutes just to sort of get your leg out the door. Oh, I'm getting too old for this, So young guys, like you were saying, back when we were driving trucks in the 60s, you sort of fly in, boom, 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 in and out, no worries at all,
Yeah, and we've got a couple of young guys with us, and they're good. They have their energy and they're fit enough. It is tough work what we do. I mean, it's not like driving a milk tanker or something like that. That's there's not a lot of lifting involved. Here we're doing lifting and climbing and chaining, and it is tough. So you need to be fit. Yeah.
Oh well, David, it's been an absolute eye opener, and thanks very much for your time.
Yeah, it's fine. Good to have you.